And we are live.
What's up, buddy?
I wonder who's going to be on here just to see what we say about turkey season.
Oof.
We just wrapped it up.
We did. Just recently.
The results are in, and they've been better.
Yeah,
They've been better.
we've talked a little. We've talked a little bit about it. I had a good season, and several of my family members ended up with a bird or two here and there.
Yeah.
But by and large, the season as a whole was low numbers.
Yeah. Well, speaking of low numbers, we only got one person on. Brent Lemming says, "Howdy, folks." Jimmy Carroll's here. We got some more coming on. I've not got a notification yet. It says Logan Beach likes their video, but I don't see the notification on my phone. Oh, it's picking up now. Eddie Endicott's here because it says hello there. It doesn't say, it just says Facebook user.
Yeah.
But all right, guys, talking about two things tonight. Two things. And you know what? Josh isn't here to share the video. So we're going to need people sharing the video. Two things tonight. We're going to talk about turkey wrap up. Mike, you got darker.
I did.
What happened?
My battery pack got pulled out of the wall.
Oh, no. Two things. Turkey season roundup and the elk draw this Saturday. And I am going to invite some folks to come join us here. Give me just a second. Looks like we got a lot of folks watching from the group, Mike.
Yeah.
If you're watching from the group, the Kentucky Outdoors group, someone said, "Hype me up. Tell me I'm going to get drawn for the elk tag." So you come through on the group. You're coming through as Facebook user. If you want us to see your name, go watch it on the page. My teeth look really wide. I feel like I'll take it. Jimmy Carroll, a lot of people on the group. I like it. Joe Carter, Gordy Mullins. Gordy, how has Ohio season started off? Sean Ely's watching. I saw him come on here. Peyton Bryce Goebel, Tony Young. All right, talking about turkeys, talking about the elk draw. Mike, did you put in for your elk tag?
I did. Yep, I sure did. Absolutely. Hey, I had a system here in place. I know we talked about it a little bit off air here. I had a system in place where I was waiting on the final day, the final couple hours. I even found 3 4-leaf clovers on that same day in the same spot.
Oh my gosh.
So I took pictures of them for proof. I put in for on the last day, and then boom, they said they had problems on the internet. I guess their paying system was down. They extended it for 3 more days. So my plan of foiling the algorithm and getting it my name.
You thought you had it figured out.
I thought I had it figured out, and now I'm screwed. So that is what.
Well, I thought I had this Facebook thing figured out, but apparently I don't. So let me tell you what I did. It was the night of the draw. What was it, April 30th?
Yeah.
April 31st, maybe?
Yeah.
I forgot to put in for my tag. And I was like, I woke up the next morning like, oh, man, I probably wouldn't get drawn, but, I still wanted to try.
Yeah.
And then they extended it 3 days. And I was like, okay, that's the first win right there. That's the first step of good luck right there. So,
yeah.
Hey, Tim, how you doing? Tim Fannin and Tim Callahan. Adam Lewis said, did you bet on Rich Strike 2? Adam?
I wish.
I didn't. And I always do. I mean, I've talked to like 10 people that said this, and I'm sure everybody has told you that. I usually put like $5 on the longest shot. And I was in a hurry, and I work with a guy who actually owns horses, and he gave me some advice, which did not include Rich Strike. And I just went with his advice. I should have put my $5 on there. I would have won like $400 or something. I don't know. So, but it was an amazing race. All right, we do have a good friend with us tonight. You see the top of his head right there. Hurley, our guy Hurley Combs. How you doing, my man? Can you hear us?
You hear me fine?
We do hear you. Looks like you're growing antlers.
I feel like I'm finally made it to the big show, eh?
Well, you know what? It's not that because you've not been invited before.
Oh, I know.
All right, I finally have it where I can share here. Hurley, did you hear? I forgot to put in for the tag, but they saved me with their extension.
You gonna get it, mate?
I think so. You know what? Here, I want to know what people's opinions are. So I saw different things on this, and I'm not saying any of this is true, but I like to know what people say. A lot of people are saying, they extended it 3 days because, well, we don't have any elk left and people didn't apply for it. Now, I think it was just because they had a mess up with a machine. But who is the conspiracy theorist in the comments who thinks, you know what, they just needed more money, and so they extended it 3 days? Mike, I think you're the one telling me that.
I don't remember saying that. I guess
It wasn't Mike, and I don't believe that either. But we like to hear opinions.
Yeah, I think they just had an issue
on you, Mike.
Huh?
He's always hating on you.
He's always hating on me, man. You know how he is.
No, it's not hate. It's brotherly love. It's like brothers. Justin Richards said his guess more money. I don't know.
So he's got the thing. He's down with the theory.
He's the conspiracy theorist. Let's see, Adam. I got a new mouse that sucks. Haven't they extended the date several years? I don't know.
I've not seen what happened the other day happen many times. It
just went down.
I think it was just a fluke thing, honestly.
Jimmy says they were wanting more out-of-state money. That's what it was. They needed some out-of-state money. The out-of-staters. Well, the truth is, I think the truth is, the system went down. If you try to purchase one those couple of days, the system was down or that night or what have you, which did lose them money. Right? It does cost you money when there's people in there. Because, Mike, a lot of people are like you and me. They wait till the last day to do it.
Sure.
Now, you think you can wait till the last day and it works to your favor. I just wait till the last day because I don't remember. And so people wait till the last day. Maybe they overloaded the system and whatnot. So, anyway, I just thought that was fun. I saw a lot of people saying that. So
I always say, John, the stars has got to align. So maybe this is your turn.
Maybe it is. I don't know. I know one thing. I know where some are. I saw more elk during turkey season than I saw turkeys. So I don't know. We'll see. All right, Hurley. Let's talk. Let's ask you. Mike's already given his 2 cents on the turkey season, and guys, we want to know how your turkey season went. If you're watching in the comments, was it a phenomenal season? Maybe best season ever. Some people have said that. Was it an average season like you usually have? Or did it suck? I mean, some people, for me, it was just not a very good season. For the most part, after 9, 10 o'clock, the action was gone. I was ready to go home. Now, both of my friends here, Hurley and Mike, both tagged out. So I guess for them, it's a good season. Hurley, what do you think overall? Do you think it was a little less exciting than usual?
Oh yeah, you definitely had to adjust your strategies. If I'm a run and gun type guy, and it's tough for me. Me and John, I mean, we couldn't sit still. We had to go, so we struggled the day we hunted. But we made memories, and being out in the field, that's the main thing throughout the year. And we always get hung up on the kill and the harvest, but just getting out there and enjoying it. That's the biggest thing I can take. It was tough. It was definitely less gobbling throughout the, normally, that 11 to 2 o'clock period, you always got a lot of birds that's sounding off, and definitely a lot of quiet days, and I probably walked more this year than I have in the past for sure.
Yeah, it was tough. Mike's been calling this the silent season because we've not heard as many gobblers, but he's been preaching. If you've paid attention to what Mike does on Facebook, he has been preaching all over the place. He's been a turkey evangelist, telling people you can't run and gun this year. You can't run and gun. You got to sit and deer hunt. But it worked. It worked for you, Mike. I don't want to do that, but it worked for you.
Yeah, it's tough. It's not well. I mean, listen, the most well-known turkey hunters that we see, up front with Mossy Oak and up front with NWTF, up front with Night and Hail game calls, Harold Knight, Ronnie Cuz Strickland, both of them said they cannot stand. Both of them said they cannot stand sitting and waiting for turkeys. They can't stand it.
Yeah.
So it's tough. It's not the fun way we want to hunt them, because when they're gobbling, we can run, we can go find them, then we can play that cat mouse game, then we can figure out how to use the terrain to get to them, and it's a huge game in your mind, and it's exciting. And then the gobbling, that just gets you even more pumped up. But I just found this year, sitting down and waiting, even if there is a little bit of gobbling, that's maybe in the opening day situation, I've told this story before, but real brief. I had a bird goblin that was not on my uncle's property. He was kind of off. So I just decided, hey, I'm in a strut zone. I know I'm in a pretty good spot. I'm just going to put decoys out. I'm going to hang out for a little bit. 9 o'clock, all of a sudden a bird gobbles right behind my back in the woods. He comes out to the decoys and I get him on opening day. And I just decided to sit and kind of be patient and wait on something, call every 30 to 40 minutes to let birds know that I was out there. And just with after the first week of the season, we started hearing people talking about how there's no goblin. Well, when you're not hearing goblin, you don't know where to go there. You don't know where to run to. So a lot of the things that I do is kind of revert back to just going and sitting and waiting. And I feel like it's helped. It helped a lot in the specifics of how this season turned out. It's not how we all want to hunt them, but you adapt into the situation. We just didn't have and this sounds like it's from Mississippi to New York. It sounds like there's just not any goblin going on this year. It's the Silent Spring.
Yeah, you know what? Hurley and I, the first day we were over there with him, we just tucked in under a tree. We had the decoy set out, and we heard a bird in each direction. And we sat there, and the one on the left was a little far off. The one on the right seemed pretty close. And we sat there, and then eventually we were like, let's just go. Yeah. So we took off after the one, and we got pretty close. We couldn't get close enough without being spotted, and we got really close. But then as we walked, probably an hour later, we walked all the way back around the ridge, back to the side-by-side, and right there in front of the side-by-side was a turkey that I didn't get a shot on. And we both thought, man, if we just stayed there, that turkey probably worked right up to where we were, back up the road. But, that's how it goes. I still, if I had to do over Hurley, I'd still take off after that one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that bird definitely came in and checked us out after we moved and left.
Yeah.
And hey, whatever works. But again, you got people out there that got on birds, heard a lot of gobbling in places. So it's different areas, or I'm sure this seems like they're spotty and constantly in different areas. And I heard the entire season. Hey, I heard so many birds gobble, and then you look at Mr. Billy Barnett and the John Collins. But there's a key to that. Those guys put in the work and the scouting and the hours, and they are true fanatics when it comes to
pros. Yeah, they're pros.
Mm-hmm. You get back what you put in, and it's hard. We went over and Mike got on that bird and his cousin killed it, John, and just going to those places, and if you stay in those areas for 4 or 5 days, but going and hitting areas one day, moving to another area, that gets tough. But
it's fun though.
It's fun.
It's fun hitting different. Mike got on to me all last deer season because I wanted to hunt a different place every weekend, and he's like, "Dude, just go where you seen deer and stay there." And I'm like, I just don't like doing that, man. I like to hit different places. So.
I post a day that Michael made his little rant, Michael Waddell, about the anti-hunter hunters. That it don't matter how you harvest. If you shoot one out of a blind, or if you shoot one running a gunning, hey, you figured out the game.
Yep.
No, you're right, and you know what? That's a good segue into this year. We're about 4,000 turkeys shy of where we've been over the last 10 years. So 2012, 2021, we killed, I think it was 30,822 was the average. I did the math. We came in this year at 26 something. We were about 4,000 shy of that. We also killed our second highest number of jakes in the last over a decade, well over a decade. Man, that's got a lot of opinions coming in on that. First of all, the 4,000 turkeys shy of the 10-year average. That shows that things have to be done. I'm not saying who has to do them, or I'm not blaming the farmers. I'm not blaming the fish and wildlife. I'm not blaming the hunters. I'm just saying it shows that Kentucky also, like a lot of the southeast, like all the southeastern states, we're experiencing a decline. We also, and they sent out, so Fish and Wildlife sent out a survey today. Did you guys get it? Did you guys get in your email survey?
I have not looked yet.
I've not checked emails.
So check your email. Yeah, you're gonna be checking them a lot this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Check your emails. There's a turkey survey. I already filled it out. Mine did say Dear Scott. I don't know why it said Scott. So maybe they have me under there in the wrong name. But fill it out. It asks you how many days you hunted, how many birds you saw, how many you killed, what kind of weapon it asks you all the, it asks if you didn't go on Mother's Day, Easter, if there was bad weather, things like that. So they're collecting data. Fill that out because I want to know how many people turkey hunted.
Yeah, I think
If we have more people turkey hunting and 4,000 less, that's an even bigger problem than if Mother's Day, Easter, and the weather impacted hunting, right? Yeah. So anyway, we don't know the full story, but
I will say my son took his buddy, one of his college buddies, Sunday, and they got on 3 birds that were just hammering.
Yeah, it seems like the last weekend was a really good weekend.
And that
I chose to fish.
That was on Sunday morning, and
yeah,
they caught it in and had a swing and a miss. So, but it was fun. He found a really good whitetail shed, both sides laying together.
Oh, so cool!
They had a great hunt. I mean,
that's one thing I didn't do. I didn't go out and try to find any sheds this year. Did you do that, Mike?
My uncle swept them all up on his place.
Oh,
every time I had an opportunity to go down there, he'd text me, "Go, I found 4 out in the winter wheat." And it's like,
yeah, there you go.
That's something for me, man.
Let's see. We got some comments coming in. Tim took both of his gobblers running and gunning. Brandon says he thinks they're getting smart against predators. Let's see. Bobby said he used to hear 12+ birds gobbling every year on the mornings, and I'm lucky to hear 1 or 3 birds for the last 5 years. One thing I did notice this year is at my mom and dad's place, at my place, and where was the other place I was talking about? Oh, at my in-laws. None of us heard any turkeys of the mornings, and we always do. I mean, my dad would call and be like, "Hey, I hear the turkeys," or we're there, and I would hear them out behind my neighbors in the farms behind their house, or my in-laws would hear them up in the woods behind their house, and none of us heard turkeys of the mornings this year. Which was odd. It was odd. And I was telling Mike on my way back and forth to school, I pass a dozen farms and I've never seen a turkey. I've seen plenty of deer, never seen a turkey in those farms. So anyway, this guy says weird year, but managed to tag out first week on back-to-back days. Good for him. Let's see. Raccoons have learnt the birds. Adam Short says, if we had more hunters and less of a harvest, that could be bad news. I agree, Adam. I saw Trinity Shepherd in here. Trinity said, tough year, heard a lot of birds, just not as much action as usual in Kentucky. Tough in Tennessee, great hunting in Florida. So maybe we just need to go south. Trinity actually told me yesterday that he hunted 19 out of 23 days in Kentucky.
Wow.
And he killed 1 turkey. That's a lot of hunting.
He's just getting in shape for elk season.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
The Super Bowl on Saturday.
Now, Trinity, I'm going to be a guest of Trinity's this Friday at the Mountain Arts Center. I think it's at 6 o'clock. We're going live at the Mountain Arts Center. That's the night before the elk draw. I can't be there on Saturday because my daughter has a track meet. But you'll have to tune into that. All right, let's see any more comments.
I did see Trinity a picture on his story that he killed one with a muzzleloader. So I will congratulate him on that. That's pretty cool.
He told me it was Trinity's dad passed away several years back, and that was his dad's 12-gauge muzzleloader. So that's really cool to be able to do that. Yeah, you're right.
Congrats on that, and that's even more meaningful to me because I got to spend some time on the hill with his dad. So
yeah, that's great. Good stuff. Good stuff. Bub says he'll be out there to see me at the MAC. Bub, it'll be good to meet you in person. Trinity says, yes, sir. Very blessed. Thank you. All right. Well, turkey season's over. I'm kind of glad. I want to get back to more fishing. Hurley's been catching. Hurley sends me pictures all the time, and it's not elk. It's smallmouth and crappie, and it's all kinds of bass. I think he's just about ready to retire from the elk game and get into
crisis, man.
Be a fishing guide.
Yeah, I've had a midlife crisis.
Got him a boat, got him live scope. He's a fisherman now.
You would think an elk guy would come on your show. We'd have an elk in the background, and
you got a deer.
We got a whitetail.
I was hoping you'd have the 400-inch antlers back there.
Well,
I don't think the screen's big
I
enough.
had the sheds downstairs, but it just don't do him justice. But
I'm
on
sure.
camera, but on a note on that, I'm actually picking up Lucky on Friday. We actually got a replica done of him, so I thought that was pretty cool. And if we go back to 2015 on the David Giles bull, which was the first 400-inch grossing bull that was ever harvested in Kentucky, which was a big thing in 2015.
That's a non-typical.
He was a non-typical. Yeah. At the time, he grossed, I think, 407 or 408 and netted in the high 370s. But we also have him that we got him replicated at the same process during the time that Lucky was being done. And I will give a big shout out to I'll mess this up, but it's Wildlife Artistry by Ben Bauer. Phenomenal.
Where's he out of?
Up around Lawrenceburg, and just out of Frankfurt, about 45 minutes or so.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
But he replicas. I mean, he's one of the best in the country at doing.
Yeah, I saw the pictures, and you couldn't tell the difference in the real and the replica.
We had 3 of them done, and I mean, I couldn't. When I walked in, I didn't know which one was the actual sale for real. But that's going to be pretty cool to have them. We'll have both of them, replicas, and not sure if we're going to have them for Saturday for the. We wanted
draw.
We wanted to get them done and bring them to the draw, but we will definitely have them. Our organization, our Kentucky Elk Guide Association, on the 21st, which is a week after the draw, the Saturday after the draw. We'll have a Sportsman's warehouse in, I think, Nicholasville or Lexington.
It's in Lexington. It's exit 110.
So, anybody that wants to come out to see Lucky and even the first bull, the first 400 grossing bull that was killed in 2015, we'll have both of those bulls there.
Is that just Saturday?
That is just Saturday, yes.
Oh, I got another track meet. I don't think I'm gonna make it. Crap, Mike, you're gonna have to go down there. All right, so hold on. First of all, before we get into talking about elk, here's what I don't know. If you're watching, let us know if you have applied for an elk tag. If you've ever harvested an elk in Kentucky or at least hunted one, I want to know. Maybe you can tell us your story. I know Brandon Kloss is on here. He's done that. Bub says though, Hurley, tell us about your dad and them squirrel dogs. He is a legend. Your dad is a squirrel dog legend. You came by this honest.
He has some of the best dogs. I mean, but again, he puts in his breed of dogs is just, he's got dogs in every state, and really, really proud of that. And that's who got me started and where I am today as far as hunting. So pretty cool.
Brent Lemming says he didn't apply this year, kicking himself. Now, here's the thing, Brent. If you applied, you probably wouldn't have got drawn, but you're definitely not getting drawn now. So that's what I tell everybody. Like, hey, you can't get drawn if you don't apply. So you got next year, though, Brent. You got next year. Doug says, Doug's going back to turkey season. This is Doug Clayton. Did not get a bird this year. First Saturday was dead in Pendleton. Second week was better. Hunted one day on public land in Kentucky. Disappointed in the condition I found the WMAs in. Another conversation for another time. Some WMAs are fantastic.
Mullins WMA in Boone County.
Mullins WMA was where he was. Is it not good shape?
It's terrible.
Is it? What needs done to it?
All the above.
Okay.
That one's a rough one. It's
Mullins. I don't think I know. What's the full name?
Great question. I think it's literally just Mullins WMA, if I'm not mistaken.
Now here's the thing. I saw that. I'm not going to name names here, guys, but there's a guy that gets on all our stuff, and he likes to comment every time I post something about public land. He posts a little smart aleck comment like, "Of course, you're mentioning public land, right?" Let me tell you what I just discovered about this guy. Every time someone Every time someone comments about it and asks about it, this guy's the first one to reply. And he says, I don't know why anybody go to Yellow Banks. It's overran. It's this and that. People, people don't know what they're doing. You've got a bunch of dumb turkey hunters out there. Guess where he killed a turkey this year? Yellow Banks. Yellow Banks. Now, I'm saying the name of the WMA. I'm not going to say the name of this guy, but and I think he's a good guy. I do. But I figured out you're bashing this WMA because that's where you hunt, right?
Exactly.
So anyway,
Mike's
not doing that. Mullins WMA really is in the tank.
It does need help. Yeah, it needs help.
There's several that need help, and there's several that I really like going to.
Mm-hmm.
But some need more than those. Let's see who's put in for the draw. Bub put in again. Let's see. Adam Lewis put in. Hurley. Or not Hurley. Brandon said he killed a 300 incher. I don't know when, but he's applied. He got a female with his. Oh, Bub's got a squirrel dog from your dad's line of dogs there.
That's cool.
Let's see. Chris Gobby says LMO, that's Lost Mountain Outfitters with Hurley. Got him in 09, killed a good one. Brandon said Hurley guided me in the right direction for sure. Thanks. Gordy's got squirrel dogs. Jim Wilson was drawn in 19 and Lost Mountain put us on a good one.
Awesome.
Let's see. Christopher did not apply. Say it again.
You can actually go back and look at Chris. Chris Gobby's on the Kentucky field. I mean, probably in the top 5 of my favorite bulls. I mean, that's
really
just a beautiful bull. Yeah. I mean, it's a phenomenal, and the mount's it's awesome.
We'll have to go back and look at that. All those shows are on YouTube, I think. Joe Carter said, how many elk tags get drawn? Mike, do you know the number?
How many elk drawn?
How many tags get drawn? I know Hurley knows. Do you know the number?
Last year, was it? I'm wanting to say 400, but
oh no, higher.
Oh, is it 500?
Higher.
Okay, I don't know.
594.
594.
594. I think there were over 70,000 people apply for tags last year. There are special tags. You got the commissioner's tag. You got landowner's tags, which you can purchase. But there's 594 drawn. Out of those, you got about 59 to 60 out-of-staters. The rest are Kentuckians. So just 10% goes out of state. I know a lot of people complain about out-of-staters. Most of the time, if you see an out-of-stater and they've hunted multiple times, they're paying for it. They're not getting drawn multiple times. They're paying for it. Let's see. Joe says, I lost it. He says the elk drawing is rigged. What I don't understand is also when they first put in the elk and talking about the hunts, they said no guides allowed. That sure changed and messed up for people. All right, hold on, Joe. Let's talk. Let's take this one step at a time. First of all, the draw is not rigged. It's just not. It's just a long shot, right? 594 tags, 70, sometimes 90,000 people apply, and you could probably go 100 years and not get drawn. Now, for people who say, "Oh, I know the same people get drawn every year," that's not true. That's a lie. That's just not true. If a person hunts for elk consecutive years, they've paid for that. And not only do they pay for it, they paid really good money for it. And that money goes back to either elk or fixing public lands or doing research. It all goes back to conservation. So if you want what's best for conservation, you should want people paying for those tags, and you should want them paying for those tags to go with the guide. Because here's my thing on guides. And I'm not just saying that. If Hurley wasn't here, I'd say this. The department deserves credit in bringing elk here, and all the people that collaborated, and it's been a huge success. No matter what you think of where the numbers are now or this or that, it's been a success. But the publicity and the popularity we need to give some credits to the elk guides, because Hurley just guided the number 2 largest bull, typical bull in North America last year. You don't think that's going to have more people coming to Kentucky spending their money, right? So let's give credit to all the people who worked to get them here, and let's give credit to the people who have really brought a lot of attention to the elk that have been killed.
Yeah.
And so when it hold on, let's finish. No guys allowed. Anyway, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, something I was just going to add is something that it was really cool. The first opportunity that we got to kind of be with Hurley last year, last spring, something that I thought was really cool that I learned immediately is not only does he guide, is he keeps watch over, and that's something that I learned very quickly. You know, we did happen upon people that were on the properties that they weren't supposed to be on, and Hurley knew that they were there because he ended up getting a trail camera picture, and he literally said, "Yikes, there's guys over here that are not supposed to be here. Let's go over and check this out." So not only is he's an elk guide, he's a keeper of game. Like we got to witness that, and I kind of wanted to mention that just because doesn't have anything to do with hunting. He's kind of helping keep track of situations where it could be a poaching scenario. Maybe he's keeping people away from poaching situations, and I think that's important too. Doesn't even have anything to do with hunting, but we kind of got to see that a little bit on a personal level, and I think that's really cool.
Hurley, do you want to? What are your thoughts on the drawing being rigged and the guides messing it up for people? I mean, you are a guide.
Yeah, I think the drawing from my perspective, we've had a lot of successful hunters over the years, and I've never once felt that I had a hunter come through my camp that he got a tag because he knew somebody.
Yeah.
I think early on in stages, I'm not going to say there was some funny games played in the beginning.
Yeah.
And, there was lessons learned, and I think there was repercussions over that people no longer work in the fisheries or for the department.
Right.
But hats off to Kentucky, to our department for what they do, our biologists. As far as outfitters, we work hard for what we do. It's a great opportunity for landowners.
Yep.
Over the years, the biggest thing is I'm from Eastern Kentucky. I was born and raised in Hazard, Kentucky. Grew up there as a kid. It was amazing to watch this whole elk thing unfold. And, I did it as growing up, did it as a young teenager, going into my young adulthood years. There was no control over anything. We went where we wanted to go, and we hunted on land. There was no control.
Yeah.
And now landowners have a play and a role, and the landowners need a benefit. They had to have control, and it when change comes, we don't like change. There's places that I grew up and hunted that I can no longer hunt. That is phenomenal hunting. It sucks because I can't go there.
Right.
But that's part of things changing hands throughout. It's bought, it's sold, and the biggest thing as an outfitter in Eastern Kentucky is, the downfall in the economy, the coal business going out, those, the elk habitat, things. It's not one thing to pinpoint, blaming Fish and Wildlife, blaming outfitters, blaming the locals. But I will encourage the locals to take a big interest to help rebuild what we once had, because it is a good thing for Eastern Kentucky, and it's brought a lot of good. A lot of good. So
yeah.
I mean, Hurley, you have guys that have spent tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars to help the program.
Oh, I know one guy's donated over $300,000 just to the nonprofit organizations.
Yeah, and that goes back to wildlife. Every cent,
every bit of it.
Yeah, and that's just one guy. I mean,
I'm a guy I put in. You're talking about applying. I've applied. I've never missed a year. I've never been drawn.
Yeah. Well, Bub says he knows somebody in the department. He still hasn't gotten a tag.
There you go. But it's these landowners. I mean, if these landowners are getting tags, rightfully so. They're enrolling 5,000 acres for every 5,000 acres that they enroll, which gives a hunter an opportunity to hunt. Some of those lands, actually about 100,000 acres, an outfitter, a guide that has acquired guide license cannot hunt those properties. So, I could be upset and name and blame, but that's part of it. I chose to have guide license. So if that's the rule, I got to abide by it. I can't go hunt that property. We're here to help people get where, the biggest thing I can say about the draw, okay, when it comes out on Saturday, is if you're one of those that get lucky that your name's pulled, the biggest advice that I can give is to enjoy the process.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to freak out, first of all, that you finally got a draw.
Yeah.
But I will encourage everybody to, first, you got to make a choice, if you financially can afford a guide, or if you want to go as a DIY and do it on your own. We offer suggestions for both opportunities. I try to help everybody I can.
Yeah.
Naturally, we'd love to be part of your hunt, but do your homework. I'm not saying that you have to hire LMO. We have, the first place, there's a lot of guides. We've got a Kentucky Elk Guide Association, several good guides on that. You just have to do your homework, create a list. If you're deciding to go the guide route, that there's a lot of things. If you go on your own, you got to figure out if you've got time.
Yeah.
Gas at $5 a gallon, which,
so it's going to be by September, it'll be $5.
It affects us. Diesel's already $5 a gallon.
Yeah, there you go.
So you got to weigh what's the best options for you, personally, family. First and foremost, your family comes first. Don't put yourself in a bind. Some of you put 6 months in advance, and a lot of things can happen over the next 6 months from the time that you actually applied in January up until, Saturday, May 14th.
Yeah.
A lot of people have life-changing things, lost a job, If you're able and can financially afford it, then go that route. If you're a DIY, go for it.
And here's what I'll say. One of my favorite stories last year, of course, you had the huge typical bull, Lucky, 400-inch, second biggest North America in 2021. And that was amazing. But my favorite story was the guy, I think he was from Alaska, who came here and hunted all week the last week. And then he called you, I think it was the very last day. I don't know if his last day of season.
That was on a cow hunt. Yeah.
It was just a cow. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't, but he had came all the way here and he couldn't get it done. And he called you, and the very next morning when you guys went out, he killed one, and he was as excited as if he would have killed the world record bull.
Yeah, oh yeah, he was.
And so he tried the do-it-yourself route, and I think that, hey, give it a shot, but the success rate in Kentucky would drastically decrease if we didn't have the elk guides, because what happens, and Mike found this out last year. Let's say you live in Bowling Green and you've never been to Eastern Kentucky. But you've watched, Steve Ranella or Michael Waddell, and you've seen all this. You're like, you show up to hunt a couple days before season to scout, and you're like, what have I got myself into? When you're up on top of the mountain and the elk are down deep in there or over on a ridge, and you're like, even if I shoot it, how am I going to get it out? Right? I don't think people realize how tough the terrain is and how hard these elk are to find.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have to call. And then if you wait until the week of to call, they're probably not going to get in with anyone, right? Everybody's booked. How many calls do you get this weekend? How many calls will you take?
Last year there was 3 names pulled, and my phone started ringing after the third name.
Yeah.
So I'll get, you'll get I'll get 300 of the 594, maybe more, maybe 500. I mean, it fluctuates from year to year.
Yeah. And so if you wait, do it yourself. And if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. Someone asked the prices, and those fluctuate from guide to guide, from cow to bull to, whatever. So you'd have to, I guess if you're looking for prices and you're looking for that, going to KEGA, Kentucky Elk Guide Association, on Facebook and reaching out to folks through that would probably be your best bet, don't you think?
Hurley,
Yeah.
what's kind of, if somebody were to call, this same person asked this question as Marty Spears. If somebody
That's what I was
were
going to
to,
say, yeah, right there.
yeah, if somebody were to want to call you, what's the process? They just heard their name. What do they do next?
It just said Marty Spears.
The main thing is just to reach out as soon as possible when a lot of people freak out and make quick decisions just out of being afraid of not getting a guide.
Yeah.
There's another, this is a 2 to 3 month process, because not only do you get drawn, that's a big feat in itself, but there's going to be another drawing. So basically you have to figure out if you're going to be a do-it-yourselfer, or if you're going to reach out and go the guide route to get some information. So basically they get on a list. If they call me is, quicker the better. And then we'll have a process to get everybody on that list. And then once we compile that list, they'll go into our mailing address. We'll keep them up on all the information on the process and our strategies. And I won't go into detail on that, but we'll have our own strategies, and then we'll set them up. They'll be ready to go with, basically, unless it changes, you get 5 choices for an area that you will apply for. Some people gets their first choice. Some people gets their 1 through 5. Some don't get any of those 5 choices, and then you just go into what's available after that. But
you're talking about the 7 units.
Yeah. There's the units, and then there's subunits. I call them little subunits inside that.
Restricted areas, are those the
regulated areas? Yes.
Regulated. There you go. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
That's some of the landowners that enrolled, and then the department does a great job of controlling the amount of numbers. So there's not an overharvest. So we don't have, 20 people in one area. So, they may be 2 to 3, maybe 2 archery hunters, 1 rifle hunter each week. So you may have a total of 4 bull hunters.
Yeah.
In that, 10,000 acres or 5,000 acres or whatever.
Yeah. So, the first step, if anyone gets drawn, is to reach out to one of you guys. Because I would say even if you want to do it yourself, no one knows more about the elk than the elk guides.
Yeah. And I'll say on that too, when you're talking to guides, you need to sit down and make a list of the questions that you want to ask. It's the same thing I do if I go out of state. If I go to Kansas, I want to ask, I want to see that they're a guide. I want to see their guide license.
Yeah.
If you booking with somebody and they start chattering about another guide, that's your first red flag. Really, when they call me, when they hang up, they're going to be kind of brought back down and kind of be disappointed in a way. And I hate, because here's the thing, there's 594 tags.
Yeah.
That's drawn tags. And then on top of that, you have anywhere between 7 to 10 commissioner tags. And then you're going to allow in a given year, you're going to have somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 to 50 land tags. I don't know the exact number on that. So
I didn't realize there were that many land tags.
Yeah, in total, you're looking at about 640 tags. That's going to be, let's just say 650. It's been real close to that the last 2 years.
Okay.
So to put that in perspective, for a drawn hunter that your name's drawn on Saturday, the last 2 years, our harvests have been, I'm thinking year before last in 2020 was 242. And last year we probably ended up around 240 to 260. So you're talking about roughly 400 hunters that did not fill a tag.
Yeah. That's about 37%.
Right.
Which for elk hunting is pretty high. One of the highest in the country.
Right.
But it's for overall it's still low.
For Kentucky and what it used to be, it can be a disappointment on.
Yeah.
We've seen all this, when I always reflect back on to what it used to be, but we're still blessed to be able to hunt elk in our home state. And,
Absolutely.
we don't need to lose focus of that. And that's the reason you talk about turkeys not gobbling. And me, being a guide or an outfitter out that's busting their tail, they want you to harvest worse than more than you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you're out there on that second, third, fourth day and you've not seen an elk or heard an elk bugle, it's disappointing, not for the not only to the hunter, because a lot of these guys have their they saved and scrapped, and it's hard-earned money, and it's a bad feeling on a guy's part. So
yeah,
we want you to harvest an elk. We've been blessed, and since 2015 we've harvested 50 plus elk
every
year since 2015. But who's to say what's going to happen in this year? We could harvest 10 elk.
Yeah.
But I will say it will be tough going. That's the reason I say when you start your calls, you need to have a list. Even us as being a member of KEGA, you need to have a list. I say that's your go-to source. I mean, if there's some guides outside of KEGA that's not part of our organization, but you need to ask questions. You need, if they don't have contracts, waivers, all that stuff's a red flag. Between our leases and our insurance, our expenses, our wear and tear in our vehicles, trust me, we're not making the bank like some think. And, we're just trying to make a living like anybody else.
Right.
And, I don't come into your job and tell you how bad your job sucks or how bad you are at what you
how
do.
You're ruining everything.
Yeah. So it's a hard go as a guide or an outfitter. We get a lot of bad rap, just, I don't know, call it jealousy, if you will, or just the change that, we put a gate up and we're helping that landowner control, because now that he's got a policy and a waiver on who's on his land, and being from Eastern Kentucky, it's tough. You're from Harlan. I mean,
yeah,
it's just times have changed, and it's disheartening for us sometimes to, we try to overlook a lot of that stuff, but I'm not going to take anybody for a ride that shouldn't be. As far as, you want to ask. I mean, even the last 2 years, go back through, most of them have websites and Facebook, and, look and see what they've done. My number one that I tell everybody, get references.
Yeah.
Get references. What have you done the last 2 years? I don't want to see pictures of 2010 and 2012 and 2015.
Right.
See pictures that happened in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
What is your, this bull of Lucky is a blessing to, and that's a whole nother story that we can get to, but we're LMO because of our guides.
Yeah.
They make LMO. Those guys are trying to make extra money for their family for Christmas. The money's staying in Eastern Kentucky. They're working hard they're saving their vacation time just to make some extra money for their kids. to have a good Christmas. So it's not all just LMO bringing in all this money. So, or any of the other guides for, they have help, and they have a lot of good people.
Yeah, no, and you're always gonna have some people. You're always gonna have skeptics, and that's okay. But until you experience being over there and just how incredible it is, you really can't say much about it. Jason Kilgore says, do you have to set out 3 years? Yes. Now, Jason, if you're drawing, you have to set out 3 years before you can apply again. Brent says, do you ever see elk tags being an over-the-counter like deer? Not anytime soon. I mean, maybe but when we're all dead and gone, I don't know, with some incredible conservation work, but not here. We just don't have the numbers. We don't have the numbers that other states out west have.
The only chance of that, John, is there is some situations each year that I don't know the numbers. Seems like one year they might have been 30 or 40 tags that they didn't buy their permit because we don't have a set deadline, of buying that permit. So
right.
They end up not coming, and those tags just end up being wasted, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, maybe a redraw or set those at a very high price.
That's supposed to happen this year, isn't it? Don't they have a program that they're trying to work on?
I think it's next year.
Yeah, I think when they revamp it, I think our whole system will change after this year or the following.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's maybe 2023. Anything they have left over, they'll go back to everyone like Hurley, who's put in from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And those people are supposed to get drawn. I mean, a lot can change between now and then. Tim says that he did have family members before the system that were drawn 2 years in a row. Tim, I know people that have been drawn twice. There was a guy drawn last year that had also been drawn in like 2012 or something. That is a very lucky person. That's a very lucky person. But before the system changed, I'm not sure. So, all right. So we got a few minutes left. Hurley, last year, this bull elk that you had named Lucky, that, a long story with him. I think 3 years you'd watched him, hunted him. And he ended up last year, you all killed him. He ended up being the number 2, the second largest typical bull elk killed in North America in all of 2021. So kind of give us the summary of that kill and kind of what that meant, not to the whole state. I think it means a lot to the whole state of Kentucky to see that quality of bull killed.
Yes, I mean it's a bold statement for the state of Kentucky and what the biologists have done, and it's just like it's not a secret where we killed him. We killed him in Pike County in Unit 7. He was part of the in-state restoration restocking, kind of like they just got through with that they just done in Macquarie County.
Macquarie,
yeah. So
hold on, before you explain what you mean by that. They had shut that area down for how many years?
Well, that area just didn't have any elk, so they took elk within the state. People see them trapping elk, and
right.
You get all these theories that they're hauling them to Missouri.
Yeah,
but, some of that did happen, but they take them to an area like Macquarie County. They did that in Pike County, and kept it closed for 10 years. And it was just it speaks volumes on what maturity does. I think that's what we're lacking in some areas, but again, on a business term, as far as the department, I think we look at hunter opportunity and not trophy quality. So you kind of give and take on that, and I understand that, but I think having those type areas and letting the maturity get, in 2009, we harvested it a lot, just like the Chris Gobby bull was 4.5-year-old bull that was 350, 360. And those bulls would have been 400 if they'd have made it to 8 years old.
Yeah. Keep
So-
talking. I'm going to share the picture of that. You keep talking while I do that.
And, I just kind of targeted that. I kind of said it, we're sitting in camp, 7 years prior. And I'm like, hey, if that unit ever opens up, I'm going to kind of target and put in my time. And, going into 2019 actually is when they opened Unit 7, and missed out that year. And then I kind of put some time in the off season and landed a really good piece of property. And it was just, I wouldn't say loaded like the old days with the number of elks, but the elk that it had, they were 8 to 10 years old, and having it and being conservative, Rick shot the first hour of 2020, he shot the new state record.
Archery, right?
Yeah, he was on your show.
Yeah, he was.
He's got the archery state record, and he actually drew on Lucky. He actually had him at 38 yards, and we just, he's an ethical hunter, and he didn't want to take the shot, and we backed out. And we was actually going to get a cheeseburger going off the hill and at the little dairy bar, and
good burger.
Yes. I knew a bull that was in there that had been watching, and he bugled, and we called him in, and he didn't have a whole lot of time. He was having some family issues, pretty serious. So we called that bull in, and he smoked him at 37 yards. The same.
That was a big burly bull.
Yeah, big old bull, just age. So at that point, I made a very big gamble, and I just decided not to. I first called him Casper because that bull didn't live on the property all the time, and he would just show up. And long story short, we watched him, and he left. Didn't see him, and Todd had contacted me. He had purchased a commissioner tag, Todd Ayers, that harvested him. He got in contact with me. Beginning of 2021, and we kind of set the hunt up, and I told him about Lucky, and I told him that if he shows up, there's a lot of things can happen in a year or 9 months. So between running trail cameras and staying on the property, he never showed up in 2021. I got his sheds from 2019, and actually they scored his sheds, which I'll have that with at the Sportsman's Warehouse. He was 390 in 2019.
Wow.
So he didn't put a lot of inches on. He just put some mass on.
Yeah.
And some length on his thirds. And we getting closer to opening, prior weeks, and he called and says, "Man, I got a moose hunt." He said, "What should I do?" And I'm like, well, I said, he's not showed up, this particular bull. And that was what he had hopes in harvesting. And I said, hey, go to the Yukon and go on your moose hunt. And I still hadn't seen Lucky. And so we get all of our hunters checked in. We go through, getting ready for opening day. And naturally, I'm just going to the property. I don't have a hunter or anything, and all my guys are taking the other hunters. Didn't have any hunters in that particular unit, and I just go over there, and wouldn't you know it, opening morning, who shows up? Lucky. So I'm watching him. I can't get a hold of Todd because he's in the Yukon.
I didn't know that.
Service. I don't hear from Todd. He comes back into Fairbanks on Monday. So I've watched Lucky for 2-3 days now, and I'm FaceTiming him watching Lucky. And I said, Todd, you have to get here. I said, if not, we have a hunter coming in on Wednesday, and they're going to shoot this bull because he's going to leave.
Yeah. Now, that's what I was going to say. You've had big bulls like that leave, and you don't see them again, right?
Yeah. Typically into August, them last 2 weeks of August, they're going to lose their velvet.
Yeah.
and they'll hang around. Even some will hold it up until the beginning of September, and they're going to hang about 7 to 10 days. And because you're going to have your little bachelor groups of bulls, and when they shed, they'll hang out about 5 to 7 days, sometimes 10, and then they gone. They'll go 8. I have watched bulls and find them 8 miles because they're going to go looking for cows.
Yeah.
So I'm FaceTiming Todd, showing him Lucky. I mean, I had him pegged, and I said, "When can you get here?" He said, "I'll be back home on Tuesday." And he actually flew into the Pike County Airport, and I picked him up, and we went to hunting, and we harvested him on Thursday. We got on him Wednesday, just didn't have a good shot on him, and we backed it out, and just got on him on Thursday morning. Actually, funny story, I got on the hill, and I got out, and I shut the door, and I locked my keys up in the truck.
Yeah.
He's like, "What are we going to do?" I said, "We're going hunting." So we shoot the bull, and before we ever go to him, I really nothing I would go back and change. I really enjoyed everything that happened, and even it going on and getting to pick him up and getting the replicas. There's been 2 400-inch bulls harvested by an outfitter or guide. We've been blessed to be part of those, and to have those and have a replica now of both. And it's to do that in your home state. It's hard to put all that in to one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot. And
that's cool.
Do you think, seeing that, the Giles bull was 2015, but seeing Rick's bull and Lucky come off that property, I mean, you think that would be encouraging to do more projects like that, where we move elk, we shut that place down, let them grow. Like you said, Kentucky is about hunter opportunity. If you look to the north, you see Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania has like 1,500 elk, a lot less elk than us, but they're killing monster bulls. Like, their elk are way bigger than ours. I would like to see a balance where we see more of those 400-inch bulls, but I don't know a way to do it other than just shutting some places down.
It's age, and it's hard to.
How old was Lucky? Someone asked that.
We don't have that back yet.
Uh-huh.
I actually asked Joe McDermott the other day. He's one of the biologists that does a lot of work and a lot of things for our department. Should know in a few months. It takes some time to get that back, so we don't have the exact age, but I'm guessing 11, maybe 12.
That's amazing.
I think he was bigger. He was actually a little bigger in 2000, the year prior to 2020. Season. He was actually a little bigger, I think.
Brent said, what did he weigh?
We actually didn't put him on the scale. I'm going to say on hoof, he's probably 1,000.
Yeah. Now, Virginia says they have 350-inch, 900-pound elk. They're only killing 5 this year. Those are definitely our elk, but anyway, that's our elk. Come on, Virginia.
But I will say good luck to everybody and on the draw, and we'd love to speak to everyone that gets drawn and try to help out any way we can, and try to give the best advice we can. We can't take everybody naturally, and we want to see everybody have a successful hunt, and success becomes in many different measurements.
Yeah,
it's not just the harvest. Naturally, when you've got hard-earned money and you're paying somebody, but go into it knowing the numbers, who you're with, who you feel comfortable with. If you're choosing a guy, if you're choosing to go DIY, there's nothing wrong with that.
Get after it.
Get after it.
Get after it.
Put in the time. It is as much as rewarding as using a guide, and maybe more rewarding, because if you got the time, go for it.
Yeah.
If the stars align, if you get the right area and the right draw, or I've seen folks destroy their hunt just because they had these high expectations. It's all about the numbers game. Yeah,
Yeah.
Lucky was a big bull and a world class bull, and I may not never, you know, I don't know that I'll ever see another bull that size.
Yeah.
But I've got hunts. I've had hunts that I've killed 260-inch bulls, 250-inch bulls. That every hunt's different, and everyone has their own story.
Yeah. There you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you know what? That bull or cow, they taste amazing. We had elk for the first time 2 weeks
We
ago.
certainly did.
Why don't you try to get I know last year they actually made a comment during the show of the drawing that they was 56 or 76 hunters that had put in every year.
Yeah. I was thinking like 72.
That had never been drawn.
That's what they said. We need to find out.
I'm not
on that list.
I should be on that list.
All right. Well, if so, you might get your own tag.
I keep hoping, man.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. All right, Mike. Any parting words here before we go?
No, it's been fun to listen to that story. That's such a neat, just a neat story about Lucky. And I think what I'm most impressed about is if he was part of the restoration, he was 11 years old. That's really, really cool. I think that might be like the coolest piece of that, because I mean that's the history of elk hunting in Kentucky as far as like the new age of elk hunting in Kentucky as far as bringing them back. That's really cool.
Wasn't Rick's 12 years old? Or am I making that up?
No, it's probably. I think it was.
Yeah,
that's back, but I don't remember to be
those
honest.
two. I mean, like Hurley said, age is going to bring your size.
Yeah, it's just really cool, and it's awesome to hear that. And honestly, I enjoyed having this discussion because I don't know a lot about the process, and I think being able to share what goes on in the process of contacting an elk guide, I would have no idea without this conversation. So this was helpful to myself, and who knows, maybe I'll get lucky and get selected. Maybe I'll call myself lucky here if I get selected somehow. But I think a lot of people were in that same boat as not knowing what to do. So this was awesome.
Well, now I got one of those names. See, Mike Collins, the C, they do it in alphabetical order. So I got to sit there and wait to the S. And Hurley's had 100 calls by the time it gets to me. So I'm just going to be, I don't know. I'm going to take a number and call him back. He already hard to get a hold of. You text him, takes a couple of days sometimes. But
I will be on it come Saturday.
Hey, listen, last year my brother's name was John, but it was a different one.
Wrong guy.
For a split second, I freaked out. And you know what? He gets drawn this year. He ain't even going to be able to go. He's still at work when we started this show tonight. So anyway, well, Hurley, man, we appreciate you. You have an open invitation to come on here anytime.
I'm not big on the Facebook thing, but it's maybe the first one I ever done, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm not a big savvy technology.
We'll bring you back here. I don't know, maybe in the middle, maybe when you get a little break in elk season, you focus on deer, we'll bring you back and you can give us an update. I really want to be over there opening weekend of rifle season.
Yeah, that's really the opening weekend is really rifle is, I will say one other thing, the early season, going to that archery, it can be extremely tough.
100 degrees.
It would be really hot depending on the weather, but a big shout out. Again, this is I'm on here with representing LMO, but we have a lot of good guides. I want to give a big shout out to our department, everybody that had a hand in bringing elk in Kentucky. If I never see a day of guiding again, if I'm not blessed to hunt another day, I've had one hell of a ride hunting elk. It's
incredible.
I want to thank every biologist, everybody that's had a hand that's, come, past, present, and future. Hats off to everybody that had a major hand in a row. And like Mike said, it's just an in-state restoration and a bull.
Yeah. This is the 25th year.
And it being the 25th anniversary, I mean, it's just
Yeah.
it's just remarkable, really.
It sure
we're
is.
glad. But thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, we still got who's that? This guy Mark says that he's got to set out a few years before he can draw again, so he's gonna let Lucky's son be for it. Hopefully, Lucky spread his genetics around, and he's got some offspring out there.
Oh yeah, he got it done a few times before you departed.
Glad Todd was late from the Yukon. So, all right, Mike, Hurley, thanks, guys. Thanks for everybody who watched. We'll have another show next Tuesday. I really don't know what we're going to talk about. Turkey's over. So, anyway, we'll talk. Well, maybe I'm drawing and we can talk about the draw. There you go. So, all right, appreciate you guys. Have a good night. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Good night,
Hurley.
bye.